We are 2 games away from the Super Bowl. Joey's Niners just, and I mean just, squeaked by Green Bay, and they're squaring off with Dan Campbell's Miracle Lions. Let's get right into it. This is the You Like That Feels Great Baby podcast. I'm your host, Erik Stenholm, along with my co-host, Niner fan extraordinaire, Joey Moore. Let's just get straight into it. They don't ask how, they ask how many. Big picture, the Niners are hosting the NFC title game. They're big favorites, 6.5 points against the Lions of all teams. It's still all there for you. How you feeling, Joey?
Yeah, that was one of the most it wasn't even like stressful. It was the most like unbelievable win I can remember. Because I didn't like people were asking, I saw like just on some podcasts, when did you feel good? Like, when did you feel good about the game? I was like, when Purdy's knee hit the ground and Matt LaFleur didn't use the last 2 timeouts to just save us all a couple snaps. Yeah, I mean, just it's wild because like we've been looking for all year. I think it's fantastic that they proved they could come from behind. I mean, we saw that stat like 9,000 times, like, oh, and a billion can't come back from behind in the fourth quarter in the second half. And they also just couldn't win a close game. They couldn't win without everyone healthy. And they did. They won without Deebo Samuel, who went out early, who clearly was going to be a huge part of the game plan. They ran this just pathetic attempt at a running play with Juwan Jennings and looked like as bad as you think it would. Yeah, and proved Purdy could lead them from behind. I mean, it's fantastic, great drive, but the first 3.5 quarters were like, what the hell was that? Like, I mean, big picture questions. Like, this guy, if there's any sort of weather, cannot play. I mean, this looked exactly like the Cleveland game. The only difference, literally the same. Cleveland, he drove him back. Just moving.
I was going to say, I just saw this stat.
The same game.
The 2 lowest QBRs of his career were this game against Green Bay and the Cleveland game of his career. And both of those, he had game-winning drives. It's just one of them, the field goal didn't go through. But, I mean, his worst games of his career still got a game-winning drive.
Which is like, that should be a real positive, right? But I'm just also like, if there's any sort of weather, like, I mean, you saw the thing that must have gone viral, like him, they showed on the broadcast, him dropping back and wiping his hand.
During the play.
Like, huh? And the only game, I remember the playoff game last year against Seattle rained, but like it definitely stopped. Like it was raining pretty decently right at the start.
Mm-hmm.
And then stayed pretty dry until the end when it was already, they had, separated. But I mean, big picture, this is a problem. He cannot play. He's like Tua, kind of, but he's like way more athletic. And I think he is more talented in a weird way than Tua, even though their draft, selection didn't really, doesn't really show that. But yeah, I mean, could not stop Aaron Jones. I mean, who knows what's going to happen this weekend with Detroit? First time they've given up a 100-yard rusher in 51 games. They showed on the broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
your bread and butter has been stopping the run, not
and I
turning
thought
the
Kyle
ball over on
Shanahan
offense.
was horrible. I thought he was horrible. His game plan was, I mean, it's hard to say like what it would have looked like with Deebo, but I don't understand when the Packers struggled to stop the run, or have struggled. And like our thing is running the ball. At least I thought it would. I mean, I thought it was, and it's like we're every time open up 5 wide.
Also did not like his time management at the start of the first half that just led to that moody 48-yard field goal. Like, you could have gotten way further down into the red zone and maybe threatened scoring. It was like ultra conservative. I think he was expecting LaFleur to take timeouts that he didn't, and then didn't know how to react to it. It's like, but big picture, right? Like, this was probably Kyle's worst performance as head coach since maybe the 2021 NFC Championship, and yet you still won. Like, pretty crazy.
I mean, I still don't believe they won the game. I mean,
head coach was bad, quarterback was bad.
I mean, boy, to know what was going through my head for that 3.5 hours. I mean, you just contemplate your life. Really, you just like, why did I just waste 4 months of my life following this team? And then like a couple plays, and it's like, I love sports. This is great. This is wonderful.
We're back. We're a wagon.
Yeah, we're so back. No, it's like hungry hippos. Like, like. All year we're like, can you win it? Can you win a close game? Can you win coming from behind? Can you win when like all your players aren't there? Check.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, all the hippos that were down came up like, can you run the ball? Can you execute? Can you like stop the run? Can you get off to like everything else was crap. And it's like, okay, what's going to show? I have no idea what's going to show up this Sunday. I think I'm confident if the weather's fine.
I just looked at the forecast, 68 and sunny, 0% chance of rain as of now. Obviously that can change, but we're recording on Monday night around 7 Pacific. So it's like still a lot can happen. But what I was going to say is after watching Detroit, put up huge numbers against Tampa, but also give up huge numbers. Baker Mayfield was the leading passer this weekend. The player with the most receiving yards this weekend was Mike Evans. If Debo's healthy, which is a huge if, or even if he's not, I mean, Ayuk could go off in this game. I think this is a game where the Detroit defense is such a hindrance to them. The only way that I see you guys having a performance even close to as bad as you did against Green Bay is if for whatever reason the defense completely falters again, like it did in the first half.
I mean, it could. I mean, I'm wondering what their solution is going to be to Detroit's run game. Unfortunate for Detroit, again, just like Niners with Debo, they had a couple big injuries on the offensive line. Sounds like their center, I think Pro Bowl. I don't know if he was all pro. I think he might have been second team behind Jason Kelsey. Yeah.
Ragnow
had played through what looked like no lower leg, I guess. Which I guess I expect him to play, but he cannot be 100%. They already said their left guard is out.
Yeah. Did you see? Yeah, the left guard is out. He was out in the last game, and he is out for the Niner game. The center, Frank Ragnow, they listed him on the injury report last week. It was like toe, shin, back, rest. And then he got his ankle rolled up on in the first quarter. I'm like, what a warrior.
Yeah. So we'll see, because that's the other thing, too. We have such an expensive defensive line. Like, they are not playing up to their salary. Bosa's been good. Has he been, like, great? No. Although, like, I think I saw PFF had him, like, a top 5 defensive player. I'm like,
where were Chase Young and Randy Gregory this week?
Okay, don't even get me started on Chase Young. Chase Young is a name. That's about it. He's a terrible football player right now.
He was the worst defensive lineman on the team, and that's a number 1 overall pick. I mean,
like, he's awful. Like, I really thought when they traded for him, like, I did not watch too many Commander games, I'll be honest. It's like you see the name and you're like, wow, him and Bosa, we're gonna dominate. And then he gets here and it's like you cannot play the run. They run to his side every time. He's so stiff for being like built like Hercules. He is so stiff. He had a decent opening game against Jacksonville. But it's been just awful. Like Cleveland Furrow, who they put on IR, is a better player.
Yeah, Randy Gregory, who's been in and out of the league.
Randy Gregory's been better than Chase Young.
Yeah,
but he's not been ideal.
No.
And Armstead, literally the only guy who could stop the run, but he's got like so many injuries to like. He's a guy you wonder they move on from after this year, just like he just breaks down every season. But yeah, not good. And with Detroit's offensive line and their running game, like, boy.
A lot of pressure on Greenlaw and Warner.
That's exactly what I was about to say. They have to be, they do. They can at least the front four hold their gaps and let those two guys just eat them up. But
so what level of concern? So last year when we were at this point, we brought Johan on the pod. I was thinking about bringing, him or other Niner fans on to do a roundtable. Everybody said no because they were like, it was bad luck last year. We're not going to do it again this year. I'm like, okay, I got it. The question I would ask every Niner fan,
I wish they would have done it.
Yeah, cool. I wish they would have, but last year, we brought Johan on, and then the
gotta be honest, happened. I don't think that had any bearing on Brock Purdy getting his arms.
Good luck telling that to sports fans who are very irrational.
That's one thing I'm not very I'm not like.
Do you switch spots in the living room when something bad happens?
Well, the thing is, I don't have a spot. Like I am pacing all over. I don't even sit down.
Yeah. Yeah, you're leaning on the couch, you're standing behind the couch, you're walking around. I remember you watching some Sharks playoffs games. It's I feel stressed.
I'll be honest, I punched a wall Saturday night. Not even a wall. Like it's like a mantle, like a wooden mantle that we have like pictures. And it was on a good play.
Yeah.
I was just like, I have so much rage. Anyway, proceed.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, I would ask, given that I've experienced 4 NFC title games, all losses as a Vikings fan. When I go into these games, I look for what's the thing I'm most afraid of rather than what's the thing I'm most confident in my team. Because 2017 NFC Championship game, I was like, this is just the team of destiny. For whatever reason, it's going to work. First drive, Vikings drive down. Case Keenum leads us to an easy touchdown to Kyle Rudolph, 7-0. Boom. 30.
This was the one in Philly?
This was the one in Philly. We had 7-0 on the opening drive, and then we almost had a pick of Foles on the first drive for the Eagles, and I'm thinking, oh my God, we're going to the Super Bowl. And then the Eagles scored 34 unanswered because we could not stop their running attack. We actually let Nick Foles, who at that point wasn't nearly as accomplished a quarterback as he became, just carve us up completely. And the Zimmer defense was literally never the same from that game onward. When I look at this game, if I was a Niners fan, I would be like, what am I most worried about the opponent? For me, it would be Dan Campbell basically playing every game like he's playing with house money. Like he wasn't playing with house money against the Rams. That's like one of the most high pressure games any coach has had in years. Detroit's first home playoff game in 30 years. Then last week, you're playing against the Bucs. Like this is the ideal draw for Detroit. You have to win this game. This is your maybe one shot in the last 50 plus years to get to the title. You have to win this game. And he played, play called like he was not afraid at all of losing. Now he goes into this Niner game. I think if I was a Niners fan, I'd be like, oh my God, this guy is going to fake punt multiple times. He's going to do a surprise onside kick. He's going to go for 2 every time. He's going to go for it on 4th down every time. Does that worry you, or is it just literally the Lion running game that terrifies you the most?
The running game, because the thing is about the other stuff, like if he's faking punts and like going for on 4th down, that does mean that we stopped him, at least.
Right.
Like, and that I just don't believe in doing that. Like I freaking love Dan Campbell. I think I could run through a wall for him, and I'm not even a Lions player. But at some point you have to I feel like you kind of have to act like a good team. I don't. If I was a player and my coach was going for it all the time, at least personally, I would start to feel like, do we always have to win with like this fake like punts? Like, isn't that usually what the team that the underdog does? Like kitchen sink, it's house money. Like the Detroit Lions are freaking good. Yeah. Like really good. But that is their thing. So like, I guess why stop now? You don't want to coach differently in this game if you've done it all year. So I understand that, but it's mostly the running game because their offensive line is what I kind of thought the Eagles offensive line would be, or at least was last year. I mean, they're really good if healthy. The one thing that I thought about today, because I really think the time off affected the Niners a little bit. I mean, the thing that affected them the most was the weather with Purdy. Like, I think everyone else was, for the most part, ready to go. But I was thinking about for Detroit, I was like, when was the last time Detroit and Jared Goff played outdoors?
Right. It's been a while.
Because their last road game was Dallas, the one on.
And before that, Minnesota, also a dome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's been, and before that,
was it Chicago? Like, was it in that cold in Chicago where they lost?
I believe so.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And they're a fast track team. And as we saw, that Levi's Stadium field was shit last weekend.
That's the other thing too. Like Purdy, but like everyone was slipping on us. Like I mean, if I'm wrong, I don't think I saw a Packer guy slip.
I saw Greenlaw slip on that early play, like early first quarter, where
Ward slipped on the the first drive down. That like
your boy Gibson who's
slipped on the touchdown.
Oh, he's having a tough one right now.
Like I was just like, this is our field. Like the weather.
Through the podcast, I have become intimately aware of 49ers Twitter. I wasn't before. Now I am because of the pod. And Tashawn Gibson, he is having a rough time.
He's taking the heat?
Early obviously Purdy was taking huge heat for
I bet Purdy was being 6 feet in the dirt.
Yeah, including you texting me. Well, Purdy had a good run.
He had a good run. he had a good run. This is
I was like,
he looked
damn.
awful.
And he did look terrible, but Gibson was really getting
the thing I thought was interesting is Jair Brown is healthy, and they went with Logan Ryan, who they signed off his couch a few weeks ago because Jair Brown missed a few weeks with injury and with the time off and the bye.
I thought he was a good player this year, Brown.
He was.
Yeah.
But Kyle was like, he just didn't. Kyle loves vet guys. That's why, like, they drafted. I thought Ronnie Bell's been a decent rookie guy, receiver, but they had Chris Conley with that catch on that final drive.
Yeah.
Guy who's played for the Chiefs with Andy Reid, like, the same reason why they have Willie Snead. He keeps getting activated and cut and signed to the practice squad and Willie Snead,
Willie Snead.
Yeah, he Saints guy, been in the league a bit. He loves those vets. So Logan Ryan, he's like, okay, you're going.
He's played in some Super Bowls.
Yeah. The guy, for me, I thought, Ambry Thomas, I was like, send this guy to the moon.
He was another one that was it reminded me of Ahkello Weatherspoon. It's just like that Niners second
it's just
corner.
One of those get off the field. Just
who was the guy in the 2012 Super Bowl? Was it Culliver?
Culliver,
yeah, your second corner who just basically cost you the game.
The first guy was Carlos Rogers, who's a good player.
Yeah,
and then Chris Culliver, yeah.
I remember him getting torched in that game, and you and my uncle and all Niners fans just complaining about.
Yeah, I remember. Oh shoot, pulled the mic out of the. Yeah, I remember Ahkello Witherspoon. I remember the Viking playoff game. I think that's what I was get him off the field.
That was our only good moment of that entire game. Was Diggs,
and I feel like every fan was saying that, and we all felt vindicated because they did.
Yeah,
they benched him for Mosley, and Mosley started, and then Mosley's had a good run. He actually got paid by Detroit 1 year. Then he tore his knee again. Sucks for him. He's really good player. So
you're.
But my point to Detroit is and I think I love Jared Goff. The story of Jared. He has met the moment for himself. His career, he just discarded by the Rams and has become. I was thinking about it. Is he already more popular than Matt Stafford?
Oh, the Detroit Lions fans right now would kick Matt Stafford down a flight of stairs for Jared Goff. Not a question in my mind.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. In fairness to Stafford, he never sniffed a team as good as this.
That's true.
I think Stafford would have won playoff and done this if he they had Calvin Johnson, but then nothing else. Yeah.
And it was impressive that he got them to the playoffs twice, and that they lost both times, but he did get them there twice. But
I'm interested because Jared Goff, the one thing the Niners have kind of had his number a bit when he was on the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't move, and
he's not a guy who will pick up 5 or 6 for you on a 3rd and 5 as a running quarterback.
No. But he's got really good receivers, and if they get open quick,
it's going to be a tall task for the Niners secondary.
Whoever Ambry Thomas is covering, just put another guy out there.
Yeah,
put another.
Guys like Josh Reynolds are going to eat in this game the 2nd and 3rd wide receivers for Detroit. But like I said, if I was a Niners fan, I'd be very confident in their ability to put up points, given that it's going to be good weather, probably a positive game script, given they're at home. I like the situation for the Niners there. We'll talk about it more when we get to our picks of the week. Let's recap what happened in the AFC. We got Kansas City at Baltimore. Baltimore's -3. First of all, we got to say we feel terrible for the Buffalo fans. And for me as a Vikings fan, for me to say I feel bad for that fan base, that it has to be really fucking bad. Just a horrendous way to go out. They did get a miracle with that Hardman fumble out of the end zone because I thought the game was over at that point. But when that happened, every Bills fan in the world had to be thinking, oh my God, it's finally going to happen. The game was over. Kansas City was about to go up 10. They had the ball at the 3. The guy is inches from the goal line and fumbles it out past the pylon. And you're thinking, Josh is going to lead us down there. We're going to win this game. I can't believe it. And then Tyler Bass, wide right, same yardage as the Scott Norwood missed field goal.
Was it really?
Which was also wide right back in, I believe it was Super Bowl 22 or 23 when they lost to the Giants. Devastating for Bills fans, but we move forward. The 6th straight Kansas City Invitational, although this time it's on the road. What do you think going into this game? I have said all week I'm definitely going to be on Baltimore. I was on Buffalo. I was on Miami. I'm going to be putting myself out there to be proven wrong by Patrick Mahomes yet again. God help me. Are you on the same boat here?
I was I was really confident they'd beat Buffalo for a few reasons. But the Ravens look really freaking good everywhere. I mean,
they came out like the Niners, slow in the first half, coming off of essentially
big difference is then they put a beat down in the second half.
Yeah. And they gave up 3 points, that defense. The only touchdown was a punt return.
I don't know. Because I really do feel like the Chiefs are they really are damn near entering like the Brady Patriots. Like this is just inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think the buck stops here. I do think the Ravens like Travis Kelce is not going to go against practice squad linebackers.
Yeah.
Sunday.
That's what Jamie was saying when we were watching yesterday. She's like, I thought you said Kelce was washed. I was like, he's going up against like guys who sell aluminum siding in the offseason. Like this is not an NFL team on the defense for Buffalo.
Yeah. And I think Baltimore is so good up front on both lines. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a hell of a game. But I'd be shocked if Baltimore, to be honest, I'd be shocked if Baltimore doesn't win the Super Bowl. And if we're circling back the big picture for the Niners, there is no freaking way we are beating the Baltimore Ravens in a potential Super Bowl.
See, I don't know about that, and the numbers bear it out. The Niners would be a 2.5-point favorite in that game.
Like on what planet? We just saw the game at Levi's.
I just saw the lines were released. The only one that was significant to me was that I believe Baltimore it was like 4.5-point favorite against Detroit in that hypothetical matchup.
We saw that too. That was a beatdown.
Yeah, that one was an absolute ass kicking in Baltimore early in the season. But going back to this game, like there's 2 angles to this game that could possibly lead me to go towards Kansas City because off the top of my head, I'm like, Baltimore's going to kill them. But this is a legacy and career defining game for Lamar. Like the pressure, I mean, you said it earlier this year, maybe nobody had more pressure going into the playoffs than Lamar. Maybe a close second was like Dan Campbell and Jared Goff and the Lions, given that they had to win that game against Stafford. Dak as well, and he didn't meet the challenge. But like Lamar had the most to lose. He was basically immaculate in that second half of the last game. He's going to have a performance close to that this time, or the questions are going to come up. And then for Mahomes, I mean, they're obviously not playing with house money, but this is the worst that him and the Chiefs have looked in their entire 6 years together. And yet, if he wins this game, the conversation goes from where does Mahomes belong in the all-time greats to he is on pace with Tom Brady, which is a sentence that you can never say. The guy won 3 Super Bowls in his first 4 seasons. He's put up stats that Mahomes is going to have to throw for 5,000 yards until he's 42, 43 to have any chance to catch his numbers. He will be on pace with Brady.
Numbers. It's just not about the numbers.
That's what I'm saying. Is like if he wins this game, that's
like if he wins
in 4 Super Bowls, winning 2
like
or 3.
Honestly, if he wins this game and like we're talking weeks from now wins the Super Bowl, I mean, if he retired the next day, he would be number 2.
You could make that argument for sure. I mean,
you could make the argument if he just wins this week, he's number 2.
Well, he will already have, if he wins this game, be the quarterback with the 3rd most Super Bowl appearances, and he's 28 years old. Like
I saw the thing, it was like playoff touchdowns. Like he's already like 5th all time, 5th or 6th. But like in terms of like games played, like he is gonna blow by these guys.
Yeah,
might be this year.
The crazy thing is Brady has twice as many wins and games as the next closest, playoff quarterback. So he basically needs to maintain Mahomes this performance well into his mid to late 30s, which is a whole nother discussion. But if he wins this game, you look at the stats, you go, okay, I think that would make him 13-2 or 13-3 career in the playoffs through his age 28 season. He could have 3 Super Bowls, 4 AFC titles, 2 regular season MVPs, and 3 Super Bowl MVPs at age 28, which is, again, on pace with Brady, ahead of him in Super Bowl MVPs. It would be nuts.
And I really don't want to be like, oh, Brady had 7, so he's got to get 7. I think there's a legitimate chance he ends up with, like, say he gets 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could make a legitimate argument he would be better than Brady.
Based on difficulty level or based on
just talent?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, Brady was obviously mentally between the years elite, but in terms of just like player, it's like LeBron, right? If he ends up with like, who's he got? 5, 4.5.
4 rings.
We got 5 because he had 4. Then he had the COVID one, the bubble, which is like half.
Well, no, he had 3.
Then he got the in-season tournament. So that adds 5.
Excuse me. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, what does he got? So he's got 5 legitimate?
He's got 4 legitimate.
So 5 with COVID.
No. 4. I believe LeBron has 4 rings. 2 with the Heat, 1 with the Cavs, and 1 with the Lakers.
Yeah, it is 4. I don't know why I thought it was 5. Okay, so say he finishes with 4.
Mm-hmm.
MJ had 6. Like, I still think there's a legitimate case you could make for LeBron James being the greatest basketball player ever.
Absolutely. I picked Jordan.
Like, these people who just want to say, like, well, he had 6, he had 4. Like, really? Is that just, like, okay, 4th graders can just do math.
Yeah.
Can do
There is a conversation to be had without a doubt, and I think it's like 51-49.
Yeah, my point is if Mahomes finishes with 5, I think if it's 7-4,
because Montana has 4, Bradshaw has 4, Yeah.
If he gets to 5, which
he's 2 weeks away from number 3, and he's 28.
Yeah. I do. I think he's one of those people like a Tiger, like Brady. Like, I really do think he's angry. Like, oh, you can't win on the road. Like, he just starts making shit up in his head.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm doubted. Like, no, you're not, Patrick. Like, people are ready to erect a statue. Like, you're on the Mount Rushmore. Like, no one's doubting you. And he's like the way he's wired.
Yeah.
I do. And I do think Lamar quelled a lot of the, I guess, stress you would say, or like he did not bow out in the division. Like, that would have been
right. That would have been devastating.
This one, like, you could, like, oh, I just lost to the biggest.
I mean, he would basically be in the same position that Josh Allen is, where it's like, I am really freaking good, but I was born in the wrong year because I have to play against this guy.
Yeah, it's a lot less, but still, it's pressure. It's pressure because, again, if not this year, when?
This is their chance.
Like more. I mean, I think the Chiefs ended this era of Buffalo.
Ding.
Oh my God,
that hurts. But yeah, that the Sean McDermott, Josh Allen,
Like, I think Burrow, because Burrow has beaten him. Burrow has been to a Super Bowl, and he was like, but still,
he should have beaten him last year. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, like, if not now, when? For especially for Lamar.
And the fact that this is only -3, when I think if this game happened in the regular season, it probably would have been Baltimore -7.
That's the thing. If this game was in October, September, October, November, December, I'm like, Baltimore's going to hammer them.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's a postseason, like,
And by the way, the Chiefs won in frigid conditions the last 2 weeks.
I watched the Chiefs get throttled by the frickin' Raiders on Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, they could not move the ball. Was it like pick 6, fumble, touchdown, whatever?
It feels a lot like that last Warrior run in 22, where it's like the regular season is literally, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Like, once you get to the playoffs.
But unlike the basketball, like, it actually doesn't matter in basketball. The NFL, like, you do have, like, there's only 17 games.
They basically got to sleepwalk through the AFC West with how bad it was. And then they just found another
But
gear.
it is. They're just built the way they are built. Like, I remember it's like, oh, Miami put up 70 cashier tickets now. Like, it's like Miami, like, no chance. Like, day one playoffs, no chance.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But the things that Kansas City exploited in Miami and Buffalo, they will not be able to against Baltimore and Baltimore.
This is by far the toughest test. By far.
Baltimore is going to run the ball for at least 180 plus yards in this game, without a doubt.
Didn't Buffalo with like, I mean, I know they can run the ball now, but didn't they have like a $180?
Yeah, they ran the ball all over KC. Like, that's the one thing that you can't do. You probably can't stop Mahomes. Pacheco is a beast. Like, he runs like his feet are mad at the ground. Like, that guy is
a really
good
player.
The one thing you can do is you can run on the Chiefs, and I think that's
the thing that I underestimated. You know, I remember preseason, like I wasn't high on the Ravens just because number one, I did not think Lamar could stay healthy.
Right.
And he did. And number two, he hadn't shown me, like, I think he is so much better this year, even though his numbers really aren't MVP, like front run, like number one MVP numbers.
Yeah.
They're not. But I think he is so much more of a better player than he was in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I underestimated them preseason is they are they have the number one defense, but like they are so good in the middle defensively.
Yes.
Especially why that killed the Niners, because the Niners just kill teams with their terrible line. They just running these just in-breaker crossers, Devo over the middle. And like the Ravens, you have Roquan, Patrick Queen, you have Kyle Hamilton. Their defense, like it's just that's not happening.
When they switched from Wink Martindale to McDonald as their defensive coordinator, and Kyle Hamilton elevated his play, this became a completely different team. Hamilton, I mean, he's not Ed Reed, but he is quickly, moving up the list for best defensive backs that I've seen on that team. Roquan Smith quietly, I think the last 2 years, that stat that Pro Football Reference does, that's essentially their version of WAR. He's been like top 8 in the league at any position the last 2 years. Like Roquan Smith is a beast. He's playing like Luke Kuechly, Patrick Willis back in the day. Like he's at that level right now. And that's why they're here, and that's why they're favored in this game. I think we'll probably take Baltimore, but we'll see a little bit later. So that's the recap of the divisional round and a quick look ahead at next week. Let's go over to Joey's Jack and the Bum of the Week. Tough to come up with candidates this week. Nobody really just shat themselves. I mean, the Texans were obviously terrible on offense, so I put Bobby Slowick on there. I was just frustrated as a guy who was, I bet on Baltimore, but I still was kind of rooting for the Texans because it's a good story. We like D'Amico. We like C.J. Stroud. We like Slowick. We like everybody involved with that team. I wanted to see a good game. Why do they keep running the ball into the Baltimore line over and over? Just let CJ air it out. I was very confused with his play calling. They got inside the Baltimore 30 4 times and got 3 points. Like, poor play calling from Slowick, so he makes the list despite an amazing first season as offensive coordinator. Todd Bowles has to make the list. Had a timeout left. Could have gotten the ball back with 26 seconds left.
I saw like his Goff kneeled too early.
Yeah, Goff kneeled too early. So Bowles, his statement after the game was, if Goff had done what he was supposed to, we wouldn't get the ball till there was 6 or 7 seconds left. And that was true because the punt would have stayed in the air for however long if Detroit decided to punt or if they kicked a field goal, unless it got blocked. There's no scenario where, the Bucs would have had the ball with more than 10 seconds left. But Goff snapped the ball with 16 seconds left on the play clock. So you would have had anywhere between 26 and 32 seconds to try to score 8 points with a spot in the NFC Championship game on the line. And Todd Bowles just said, we'll wait for next season. Terrible choice there. If I'm a Bucs fan, I'm like, hey, show some accountability. Like, huge mistake. Obviously, Tyler Bass has to be on the list. I don't want him to go full Ray Finkel, but tough situation there for poor Bills fans. Another wide right 44-yard miss on Sunday night in the big game. Howie Roseman's on the list, making basically no major changes. He's like, you know what? Let's just keep Nick Sirianni. Everything's going to be fine next year. Great move. What are you doing?
I think it's a great move.
Yeah.
Run it back.
As an NFC contender, you're like, yeah, please bring back Sirianni. Good move. That team is going to be an absolute tire fire next year. Same with the Cowboys and Jerry Jones, who also makes this candidate list. Just bringing back McCarthy. Let's just run it back.
In a weird way, I have more faith in them, at least in the regular season.
Both of those teams probably will win 10-plus games next year, but like they ain't going anywhere.
I don't know. Philly might be awful.
They could be, and I would love to see that.
Is awful.
So Roseman and Jerry Jones have to make that list, but you're going with a guy involved in your game on Saturday night.
Yeah. Again, I don't feel good. I don't feel good putting on one, one guy, especially when, I guess it's your only job. But yeah, Jack of the Bum of the Week, Green Bay Packers kicker, Anders Carlson for the tuggy left on the, what was it, 41-yarder?
Mm-hmm.
41-yarder to not ice the game, but touchdown lead, I guess, and missed it. And Niners go right down the field to win the ball game. Because you could put Tyler Bass, you really could, but the reason why I went with just Carlson is because I think I saw he missed a kick in like 7 straight games, like just
6 extra points missed this season. 6, like, ooh.
Yeah, and I guess it came like we were talking. It came out of the broadcast that Matt LaFleur just prays every time he goes out there. So
you and I were texting about that when it happened. Tom Rinaldi comes out and just says it, which I don't know if it was something off the record that he felt comfortable airing. It had to have been. Who goes, hey, I talked with Matt LaFleur today, and he said, I have no fucking confidence in my kicker. He literally said, every time he goes out there, I just pray. That's what he said. I'm like, you cannot say that to the media, number one. And 2, if you're the media, you have to go, are you sure you want me to say that on the broadcast?
Did they draft him? I think they had to have.
They did. He's the brother of Raiders kicker and former Viking Daniel Carlson.
I mean, he's done.
Sorry for my Swedish brother. I'm so sorry, Anders.
But just like, how does he go out there again knowing his coach just prays?
Devastating. And this whole thing about they tried to play it off as you have to just give your rookie kicker a shot. It's a developmental thing. Eventually, all the veterans started out as a young rookie. It's like you're trying to win the Super Bowl, and this guy is a deer in the headlights every time. You honestly, though, like, who wants that job? Like a kicker. You know who does? Robbie Gould. And nobody would give it to him at the end.
Like, I just think you're Tyler Bass. Like, literally, dude, like, you're not showing your face, like, for a long time.
This is something that the people in my life who aren't sports fans have always said to me is, why would anyone ever want to be a kicker? I remember my grandma would say that every time we watch football together. It's like, why would anyone ever want to be a kicker? And now I'm like, that's an unbelievable point.
It's like, if you royally like screw up the game, like at any other position, like you're at least called a football player. Like with kickers, they're like, you have one job. Like you're not even a player. Like you just go out there and kick, like as if like they're a different part of the team that just ruined it for the actual people or something. I don't know. It's just like
the only comparison in sports, in my opinion, is the closer in baseball, and I mean, that can go a million different ways.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
Like, you're probably right. It's the closest, but it's not close. Like,
right.
Like, you pitch like everyone else does. Like, it's like if soccer was like a penalty kick and, like, that's all you did.
Yeah.
You were like the 5th guy in the penalty kick every time. You never saw the field. Like,
your only job. Yeah. Pinch runner who gets picked off to end Game 7 of the World Series.
That's it. Yeah, you come in, speed guy at second base, get picked off. That's it.
Series over. Like
that's it.
That did happen in the World Series in 2013. I can't remember. I think it was Alan Craig. Can't remember who it was. Somebody on St. Louis got picked off.
I gotta be honest. It makes me remember. I remember I was playing baseball in high school, and I pinch ran in a game. Went out to second base, got picked off, and like, dude, I mean, literally I want to end it. Like, just
you go back in the dugout with your head down. You're like, nobody look at me.
You know how like dugouts, especially like the fancy, like in Major League Baseball, they got like 2 entrances and exits. Like the manager's like towards the home plate. Like I'm going to the other one.
Yeah. And
Anders
Carlson was looking for that.
Yeah. That's tough. That's tough.
Because you were high on Green Bay. You thought they had a chance, especially if they beat the
I
Niners.
mean, if I'm Green Bay, like
way.
everyone, the thing that makes me like, I don't understand people who have this point that, because to really understand sports, you have to understand the urgency of every opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see a lot of people today, like, oh, the future is bright for the Packers. Like, oh, they're young, like they'll get better, they'll improve, like they'll be a force the next 4 to 5 years, right? Very possibly could be true. You also may never get back.
I was just going to say, not likely, possible.
Like, look at the Eagles. Like, oh, yeah. Jalen Hurts, he's young. We're back. No, shit's over.
Yeah,
like that was quick. Like what the Chiefs are doing, and like again, I know the Niners haven't won, but like consistently being in this game,
4 years
is
out
hard.
of 5. Yes,
like that's why I'm like, can you get it done before like this shit is over? And like all these players are like 30 plus now. And like
this is the Lions' second NFC Championship game since they invented the NFC Championship game.
Exactly. If you're thinking about the Lions, like if they lose to the Niners, right? They'd be like, oh my gosh, like what a season. We'll see them again next year. You might.
Not likely.
You might not.
It's
so I'm
possible.
thinking like the Packers, like on the Packers, like you thinking like, oh man, next week we would go like potentially you'd think to Detroit. We hammered them already in the division on Thanksgiving. Like we're ready to go, like the Super Bowl. Then we're in the Super Bowl. Like they probably lose, maybe, but like who knows? You're in the freaking Super Bowl. Like you have to be thinking that as a Packer fan.
And every Packer fan right now is like, we have Love, we have LaFleur. We're going to be back next year. We're going to go 13-4. Like you're in a division that has a good coach in Kevin O'Connell. Cousins definitely coming back. The Lions are a wagon. Nobody has a better position in terms of draft capital and salary cap than Chicago. You might go 5-12 next year. Like these games are huge. Every chance you have to take.
We go back, analyze the game all over again. But like everyone thinks Purdy was just absolute dog water, and he was. And again, he could have thrown 3 or 4 picks. He really could have.
Yeah.
But you know who did throw 2 picks? Jordan Love. And
including one of the worst I've seen in the playoffs.
Like that last one, I watched the end. Like you think it's like, oh, it's raining like last gasp, right? It was first down. They had 2 timeouts. There was, I think, 56, 59 seconds left or something. All you need is a field goal.
Yeah.
He rolled out that was across his body.
Brett Favre 09 NFC Championship.
3 Niners. Could have been picked off by 3 guys.
Absolutely horrible. And he gets away with it because he's Jordan Love. This is his first year as a starter. If it was the roles reversed and Purdy did that.
Oh my God. It's over.
Yeah. But going back to the main point, you only get chances like this for a normal team once every 7 to 10 years. And Anders Carlson missed it. The Packers may not get another chance in the Love era. Who knows? This may have been their best shot, and it's gone thanks to a wide left, perfectly timed for Niners fans last week.
But that just gets me with people too. Like, I mean, yeah, that's one thing. Just as a fan of the teams that I am, just haven't seen them win. Like I understand like how urgent you may never get back.
Yeah. When I went to the 2019 AL wildcard game, I remember telling friends and my family and Jamie, I have to go and I have to get really good seats because this could be the last ever playoff game, not only at the Oakland Coliseum, but in Oakland. And it was. And there will never be another one. And it's like, these games matter. Like, it doesn't, unless you're the old Pats or the current Chiefs, you're like, there is no guarantee. And
even the Niners who had been like, what if Purdy just magic ran out or like his arm really was hurt and like you guys get hurt? Like, I mean, yeah,
you never know. And the Packers blew their shot last week. As a Vikings fan, it was fun to watch, have to admit. Let's go to the picks of the week. We went 4-1 last week. We had Baltimore, they covered. We had the Niners, they won but did not cover. We had Detroit, they covered. We had the Tampa Bay Detroit over at 48.5, that covered. And then Kansas City +3, which I wanted to take Buffalo. You talked me off of it, and boom, we went 4-1. That puts us at 7-3 in the postseason. We had 47-39-4 in the regular season and 5-2-1 in season-long futures. So we're winning across the board. Let's keep it rolling here. I am going to stratify this into 2 picks because I will not have you pick your game, because that is the ultimate jinx right there. My pick is the Niners -6.5. I will take that, and I believe you're going to take Baltimore -3. There's only 2 games. We only got 2 picks. Simple as heck this week. We like Baltimore to run the ball all the way to the Super Bowl, and we like the Niners to put up a ton of points at home in good weather against that suspect Detroit defense. Baltimore -3, SF -6.5. Those are you like that picks of the week. Joey, it's time for your Feels Great Baby, your wildest take you feel best about currently. And this is one we've been working on together for a few weeks. We have to say it. We just have to say it.
Yeah, I feel pretty freaking great about whoever is playing the Kansas City Chiefs. It's America's team because we're sick of it.
It's not Dallas anymore.
Nope. It is whoever's playing the press box, the Chiefs press box. That's who we're a fan of. I'm so tired of it. You know what? I will say I enjoy Jason Kelce, but I can't take it. I can't take Travis Kelce catching a touchdown and then going to the Pfizer commercial, to the Experian commercial, to the State Farm commercial, to his face on every single commercial. And then we pan back to CBS or whatever and Taylor Swift. I'm sick of it.
He caught that touchdown, his second touchdown of the game. He throws up the love sign. They show Jason Kelce. They show Taylor Swift. They show all these people in that box. They're all going crazy. They're all doing some kind of choreographed dance. Then they do their commercial break, but it's one of those picture-in-picture commercial breaks. And what do you know? It's a Pfizer commercial with Travis Kelce. And then once that commercial is over, they come back, and then Kelce's there again. And it's never going to freaking end until someone beats the shit out of him.
They're
We're looking at you, Lamar.
Once, just like Travis Kelce said.
Oh my God, two things at once. What is he not in right now? Oh my God.
Honestly, if you were into what's going on here behind Travis, I'm like, why is your face? You're a good player, but why you?
The only one who's ever been in this many commercials is Peyton Manning, and that's probably the second best football player ever. It's very bizarre.
And he does have his brother a lot now too.
Yeah.
Why is maybe why are we not seeing more Jason Kelce? I kind of prefer him.
I think everybody does.
But and Peyton Manning does do he is kind of a funny guy. I will give him that.
Travis is just, he's hitched himself, as you said before the pod, he's hitched himself to the biggest star in all of show business right now. And it's why?
The biggest, arguably the most powerful human being on earth. One of them.
It goes, Bezos, Elon Musk, Joe Biden, Taylor Swift. No, I don't know. Nobody knows, but still. Nobody has more sway over popular culture or anything right now, quite like her. And
if I was available and Taylor Swift wanted to date me, no. She's not really my cup of tea anyway. But do you know what that comes with? I don't know, just for a normal person, average Joe, being consistently every day of your life being filmed, watched for the entire planet to see.
He must love it, right?
It's just exhausting.
He's got to love it. That's the whole reason it's happening, right? He's got to be soaking this up.
He already had it. He already had it.
He had his own reality show.
He was already famous. He was already
tens of millions of dollars, but it wasn't enough. And now, like you've said, if you look at, and obviously most of what we follow on social media and see in pop culture is men who like sports. So we're not getting the Swifties
I am,
on our feet. But
maybe that's why I'm pissed.
But what we see is how much the general public that watches football, or used to before this whole thing happened, actively root against Kelce and the Chiefs. And that is only going to get bigger and bigger if we have another Super Bowl that's like focused on that.
I am seeing it though, because Kayla bought and is walking around the house with an NFL logo shield with Taylor's version.
Oh, I saw that shirt on Instagram.
Oh, she's got it, dude.
Oh,
she's got another one too. That it's NFL. I'm like,
poor Baltimore.
And you know what? You know what pisses me off is that she does actually watch now, and like, she had the game on like yesterday. She's like asking questions like about the game, and I'm like, I have been like begging you to like just not hate me for watching it as much as I do. Like, you don't even have to watch it, but like being like, just you sit there, like be a part of it, you know? And she just like double birded me every time. Like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't get it why you waste so much time watching a dumb game on the TV. But Taylor Swift comes out and she's like, oh my God, it's 2nd and 5. What are they going to do? And I'm like, huh?
It's insane.
Why couldn't she date like Devin Booker or somebody? Like, go take this to the NBA.
Yeah, the NBA would love that. I mean, and it's an NBA type thing because it has nothing to do with what's happening on the field, but it dominates all the
Jay-Z and
headlines.
Beyonce are there all the time, like Nets and Lakers, like they're kind of like big people. Like, it just seems like no one seems to care. Like, maybe it's just because they're there all the time, or like
it's because it's the young women.
Is it because it's Taylor Swift in the NFL? Like, say what you want about Jay-Z and Beyonce, like even Taylor Swift is in a league of her own above them.
The point of this conversation is that the team that plays against Kansas City is going to be America's team for that week. God help Baltimore this week. You're playing against the 53 players on the Kansas City Chiefs. You're playing against the NFL, who really, really wants Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. You're playing against the officials, who are going to have maybe a little bit of bias in one direction. I mean, I always joke that, like, obviously the games are not fixed. Obviously, there is no mandate from the league on we want this team. If there was ever a game in NFL history that Goodell wanted to pull a David Stern and go, hey, guys, make Kansas City win this game. Like, this is the one right here. Like,
because they don't care if they win the Super Bowl. They just want
they just want them to get there. That's all. They don't care what happens in the Super Bowl. They just got to get her in the luxury box there. And it's like, oh, Baltimore.
Like, if they don't make it, you could still go Taylor, but please don't.
I feel like someone needs to capitalize on this. Like, someone needs to go, if the Ravens win this game, I will buy Lamar Jackson jerseys for half of America. Like, we just need to get everyone in the world on Baltimore here. Like, I'm already rooting for Baltimore outside of everything else, but this just adds to it. America wants Baltimore to win this game so bad. Like, please give it to us. Like, beyond liking Lamar, which I do, beyond liking John Harbaugh, who I do, he's probably the best CEO style coach we've ever seen in sports. Please, Baltimore, please be America's team, win the game, win us over, and get us that color scheme Super Bowl that we want, purple versus red. Keep the conspiracy alive. For those who haven't seen this, the last two Super Bowls, the logos have featured the colors of the two teams, but the logos were revealed before the season started. So it was blue and orange in 2021. It ended up being the Rams and Bengals. It was last year, it was red and green. It ended up being the Eagles and Chiefs. This year, it's purple and red. That was revealed before the season. Please give us Ravens Niners. That's all we ask.
I thought about this. This only matters if the Niners win, but if they win, they would be playing somebody they lost to in the Super Bowl.
Each of the last two?
Which the only ones I've seen.
Yep.
Baltimore and Kansas City. So, yeah, before that, they were 5-0, so I was told.
Oh, you mean you didn't watch the 94 Super Bowl? You were.
I know. That's why, like, in the back of my head, I was like,
2.5?
He was alive for one of them, but that don't count.
You didn't bet on that one?
Yeah, I bet one Cheerio.
One Cheerio and one bottle of formula on the over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just I would like to see the Ravens win just because I do think. I mean, yeah, I am sick of the whole Chiefs charade that goes on, but yeah,
It takes away from Mahomes. Like,
mostly it does, and like I really don't think he likes it very much.
oh, absolutely not. And his wife loves it. He doesn't.
Like I just
Imagine the 2010 through 2014 Heat. Say Dwayne Wade was dating like Oprah or some, I don't even know. Who could it possibly be? Someone who is a billionaire, who's like one of the most famous people on earth, and that got the attention while LeBron's putting up 40, 15, and 10 and winning titles.
Isn't that crazy though? Because I just think about like there are famous like couples like in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dwayne Wade, I don't think he still is. What, married to Gabrielle Union?
Yeah.
Are they? I don't know if they're.
I believe so. I know they had kids together, and
I know they had kids, but I swear I saw like a blurb somewhere in the end like said they got divorced. I could be totally wrong. But like I'm sure they're in baseball. Like,
it needs to be a situation where the woman that the athlete is married to is more famous than he is, and that's
okay, Giselle. But like
right, but
it never felt.
She's not on the same level as Taylor Swift.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
Like even I know Beyonce's not dating her, but like
that's what it could. Say LeBron was dating Beyonce or something. Maybe that could have compared to this in. But
my point is like, isn't that like if you are one of these other like famous women, like Taylor Swift is just like out complete muscle flex of just how like she's the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
In terms of moving the needle.
She's been the top story in music and in movies and is now the top story in the freaking NFL. Like how
she's
is
like
that
Amazon?
possible? Yeah.
Like if she comes out with a coffee, she could bankrupt Starbucks.
It's insane. If
she comes out with fast food, McDonald's better look out.
But you were saying before the pod, you don't expect them to be together by the time next season starts. So if Lamar comes in, runs for 150, throws for 200, beats the shit out of the Chiefs, that could be the end of this horrible storyline. Can you imagine like if a month later
or something, like after the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl media, that I'm sure even if the Chiefs aren't in there, like Travis will be there, Taylor will be there, like, and then say like March, April, what if they break up, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be like, this really was just for the whole like
publicity. It was for the brand, for the shield,
for the Taylor's version,
for America. Please, Baltimore,
just
pull this one off and put us out of our misery. Let's close the pod. A couple things we want to discuss. First of all, I want to discuss our off-season plans since we're coming up on that. So we're going to have a pod after the games this weekend, hopefully a positive one that we'll do a Niners Super Bowl preview and then a Super Bowl recap. And then after that, we'll do a free agency pod sometime in mid-March. We'll do an NFL draft preview pod in late April and then start the division previews again like we did last year in early August as we roll back towards the NFL season. But I'm bringing that up because I want to talk with you about basically baseball is dead to me as it has been for you for the past 3 or 4 years anyway. With baseball being out for us, with the whole PGA Live thing being a disaster, the Sharks are in the absolute shitter. It's really just a 6-month wait for football once the Super Bowl ends, isn't it? It's not, let's watch. I mean, there's what the fuck are we gonna do?
Honestly, yeah. Nothing. I mean,
it was never like that when we were kids, and now look.
No. I don't know.
I mean, for you, you probably liked April and May more than you liked.
Oh, I did.
That's NFL playoffs. Yeah, that ain't going to happen anymore. Ever. Basketball is a bad product right now.
Maybe wait for the Sharks to retire Joe's number. That came out. So
yeah, it's the first thing Sharks fans have had to look forward to since 2019.
Yep.
Boy. But really, it's just changed
since
we were kids. There's these little one-off
Masters in the draft.
Masters in the draft. A lot of people throw March Madness in there. I like the first Thursday and Friday. Those are fun because you can have 4 games on at once. And Northern Iowa beat Duke. Oh, that's you get a 5-minute like, and then it's nothing until the Masters starts, and then if freaking Louis Oosthuizen wins that, you're like, well, what did I just watch that for? And then the draft comes and your team drafts Jake Moody, and you're like, what did I watch that for? I mean, it's like
got a first rounder again.
For the first time in a while.
Trey Lance bundle.
Yep. I mean, and the thing that you look forward to most in the NFL offseason isn't Sharks games anymore. It isn't the Masters. It isn't March Madness. It isn't boxing or UFC. It's the draft.
Well, I will say I do. I don't look forward to it, but like I did something I do just because the UFC I do with her cousin Jake loves it. So they usually like ask if we want to come over, and like they got food and stuff, which is cool. And I just hope I don't watch somebody die.
Was really rooting against that guy Strickland last weekend. That was fun. Fucking
there's nothing.
It's sad, the state of sports right now. I mean, it would be different if the Sharks were good because that matters so much to us. And I think the quality of the NHL product is actually pretty good right now, but our specific team is terrible. But
I don't know. I was talking to my dad about it. The Sharks are getting so far and far away from like the last time that anything mattered. Like I start to wonder if they ever get it back. Like not be good again, but just like, I mean, they probably will. Like it
But are they going to sell out the tank and have fan favorite players and
if they do it right, I think they do.
Turn that place back into a fortress.
I do believe that if any team does it, that it can happen.
I mean, teams like Carolina are just awesome for the last 5 years. Like it can happen no matter what the market is, but these last 5 years, I mean, it just makes it so that once the Super Bowl is over, like that feeling that used to be like, oh, time to turn over to baseball and the hockey playoffs and the basketball playoffs, that feeling is now, like I guess I should do some cleaning around the house.
It's interesting you said what was I going to say? It's interesting you said the NHL product's actually like good, or whatever you said, good, better than it's usually been, or I don't know.
I mean, I when I flip on hockey games, especially anything involving Connor McDavid, it's must watch for me. I think it's a good product compared to like the NBA right now. I think compared to baseball for sure.
I think the product is good, but I just don't know if that's equaling like buzz. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, the buzz on NHL and MLB is like 0.0.
Like I thought them going to ESPN, like, I mean, when I really look back, like ain't nobody was freaking watching on NBCSN,
Versus.
But like they're on ESPN Plus, like they really don't start really broadcasting on ESPN until once football season's over.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know. I really wonder, like, I don't know. I really wonder like what the viability is for like NHL, Major League Baseball. Those two, NHL first, Major League Baseball. I think the NBA still, there's some basketball fans. It's still like, on
I
TV.
know the direction you're going with this. You're like, is the cap going to go down? Like,
kind of
less money in the pie?
Like, I don't know. Like, I really
like,
do.
Who is watching baseball right now?
Yeah.
Who is watching hockey outside of hockey, the local market?
Like, think about you with like baseball, like me with hockey. Like, I really, compared to what I usually have done, I have barely watched hockey this year.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I think two big reasons. My team suck. Like, is on pace to be the worst team in the salary cap era.
Mm-hmm.
And just with a kid, I just don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
But
also, your football team is really fucking good.
Yeah. But like, even with them being really good, like if the Sharks were halfway decent, like I still used to watch, like they're playing right now. They're in LA right now. And I'm here. Like if the Sharks were good, like I'd be like, Eric, we're doing this another freaking day. Like I'm watching the game. And now I'm like, I don't even know what the score is. And like, if you would have told me that like 4 or 5 years ago, I'd be like, well, I died. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, this position that I'm in almost like happened like feels like overnight.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I actually don't care. Which is like I've told you, like I don't really watch baseball, the A's and stuff. Like, but like I'll be honest, like it's creeping into like hockey. And
Absolutely.
it's like sad in a way, but like I don't really miss it, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just the schedule too. Like it's hard to watch 3 or 4 games a week.
Will there ever be a game that you watch in, hockey over the next 5 to 7 years that will compare to, say, game 1 of the 2011 conference semifinals against Detroit? No. Like the amount of
do I think like
the level of excitement that you had going into that game, it'll never be like that again. Never. I mean, the Sharks would have to draft multiple Hall of Famers and put up 120 points.
I don't know,
season.
because like I do think a big part of that is the game. Like no matter who's on the team, it does like it is a big deal, or would be. But like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, because
like for me, as a at times very, very casual hockey fan, and at times when the Sharks were really good, super into the league. Like when the Sharks were playing Game 6 against St. Louis in 2016 to go to the Cup final, I thought about that for a week, and I looked at StubHub prices every day, waiting, and then I struck, and I got the tickets, and I met Jamie at the game, and it was like the most awesome experience, and it was unforgettable. And now it's like, I don't think I'll ever care about any hockey game like that.
I thought about like the interesting thing that like, so I think about what the Niners for me personally have going for them is just the sport of football is so damn perfect in terms of like you could, whether it's like the actual sport, how it's only on weekends for the most, I mean, you have Monday and Thursday, but like if you work Monday through Friday, like it's on weekends, whether the fantasy, the betting, like, you really can like follow the whole season without devoting too much time.
The product is just designed for
it really is just it's engineered to perfection.
Yeah.
The way they you want to watch like baseball? No, too bad. We got the draft. You'll watch that instead.
Yeah.
Like, August, you're gonna be watching training camp preseason. Like you say you hate it, but like what else are you gonna do? Like they've built the calendar to revolve around football and they've nailed it. But like also with the Niners, what I kind of just realized just talking this out loud is like I've seen the Niners when I was like much younger. I don't really remember Steve Young too much, but like when they had Jeff Garcia, Terrell Owens, JJ Stokes, like Brian Young, like Frank Gore, like I wasn't as big, but I remember them, that group, right?
Yeah.
Then they had Harbaugh, Alex Smith, turned into Kaepernick, still Frank Gore, but Vernon Davis, Alden Smith, Will, new era, right? And you start to love those guys and like see what they do. And then now you have it's been Jimmy, now Purdy with Kittle, Fred Warner, Debo, like the guys they drafted, which I think that's a big part of it too. Like the reason why Kevin Durant never felt like he belonged here is because they drafted Steph Curry. They were warriors. Like they might finish their career somewhere else, but they are warriors. Kevin Durant doesn't know what the hell he is. Like he's just consistently like the Raiders. They just keep moving. Like they don't have a home. But the Sharks, it lasted way longer than those, but it was one group.
Yeah.
It was Joe, it was Marlowe, you had Nabokov, and then Martin Jones for like a year or two. And then, Brent Burns, and these guys were here. Marlowe's 22, 23. Like Thorin was here 15, decade plus.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen a different version of it. Now, being older and grown up, will I ever if William Eklund, or forget him, I'm already out on him.
Yeah.
But if Will Smith turns into a bona fide superstar, will I love him as much as I loved Joe Thornton? Probably not.
He'd have to put up 170 point season for you to be like.
It was like that, but it was also my age. I was an impressionable teenager.
Yeah.
And then it was also the personality. I thought, I was fortunate to get to meet him, I think 3 times. It's cool. But With the Sharks, I've never seen a different version. It's like with the Niners, I know if this, whenever this group, this core is done, like there'll be another one.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, oh, there'll be, but like, like there's with the Sharks, I don't know what that looks like.
Mm-hmm. Because there was only one run. It was like 03-19, and it never stopped.
Yeah.
For that whole time. And like you said, the A's had their era.
The A's had their groups.
Yeah. It was the big three, Mulder, Hudson, Zito, with Tejada and Erik Chavez and Jason Giambi. And then there was the second run, which had, Donaldson, Cespedes, Reddick, all those guys. That was Coco Crisp. That was iconic. And then the third run, which was Chapman and Olsen and Laureano and Minaya and all those guys. There are their groups. But like you're saying, the Sharks had that from when Miguel Tejada was on the A's until Matt Chapman was on the A's. It was the same core of Sharks. And it's like, will that ever come back?
I think Marlowe wore up until recent this year, I think Marlowe wore every single jersey the Sharks had ever put on the ice.
If you bought any Sharks jersey ever, you could have got Marlowe 12 on there.
Until they came out whatever it was last year with the new. Yeah. I still love the team. I still love the sport, but football just kicks everyone's ass.
Let's bring it back full circle here. The Niners got to win on Sunday, and you got to win the Super Bowl because you will not give a shit for 6 months. You'll be like, I don't want to watch anything. I'll just watch highlights of that for 6 months straight. That's the only solution here.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So in other sports, if you lose, you still got a month or two before the season's over. You can't be involved with if you're looking into other sports like draft or something. Not baseball because the draft is in the middle of the season. But if the Niners lose Sunday, there's only one more game of football until everyone's season's over. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense, it doesn't feel like you're missing out. But if you're, and I know that's because they did, it is the NFC Championship game. It's already been 2 weeks of the playoffs. But I don't know, just the way football's set up, it's if you lose in the first round in hockey like the Sharks do, you got 2 months to watch other people still play hockey.
Right.
If the Niners lose, you have 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then it's then it's got to start getting ready for the draft. Yeah, we're gonna lose some staff members to other staffs. We gotta do some hiring. That's the NFL in a nutshell. But the only way that painful 6.5 month stretch from mid-February to the start of September next year is going to be worth it is if your Niners win next week and if they win in 2 weeks.
I actually thought about it. Trust me. Don't know what it's like. I would like to know what it's like to win, but I wonder what that feeling is like to win the Super Bowl and oh, you don't have a game, yeah. There
are no more games.
Oh, we did it. It's over because I feel like part of it would be sad. Still, even if you win, what do I do the next 6 months?
Yeah. I should ask Evan what that was like in 2013. What is it like when it's just oh, it's over. I don't have to worry about anything for a year.
I know that's the crazy thing is people don't understand. No, you don't understand. You think I just wanted to throw up for 3 hours, during the game. What about all week?
Yeah.
I don't get stuff done at work because I'm distracted.
You're like, oh my God, I really think David Montgomery's going to go for 100.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't send this email. Jameer Gibbs coming out of the backfield, catching the ball. Oh my God.
Is Chase Young going to actually set the edge Sunday? Oh my God.
Oh, is Ray McLeod? Where is he? We need him.
Can I also get the X-rays to Devo's thing? Can I also see them?
Can I donate my ankle to these are the thoughts that go through a sports fan's mind when
is Purdy gonna dry his freaking hands?
Somebody get that guy to a Manny Petty place so he can get his hands nice and dry for this game. Unbelievable what's been going on. We got 3 games left this season. AFC Championship is first up at noon on Sunday, and then the big one, Niners, Lions. I don't think we hammered that point home enough. The fucking Lions are in the NFC Championship. Absolutely insane. But we'll be back next week to recap We'll give you the Super Bowl matchup. We'll give you the Super Bowl preview. Hopefully it's an upbeat, energetic pod. Hopefully it's the first Super Bowl preview with one of our teams here on the You Like That Feels Great Baby podcast. We will see you then. Thanks for listening. See you next week.